Okay, almost just about to present. So I think what I need to do is to get the code. My classic view. The details. Setup. Ingestion. Okay.
She said, thank you so very much. It's physics, right? What you need to work with?
Okay, I need my phone. My phone is going. What?
I said, let me call it for you.
I'm not in the car. No, it's in my pocket, yes? In the back here.
Hi, good night. Your phone is?
This is the Granting Girls.
Is that?
Yeah, hello, Miss. Oh, okay, the Granting Girls.
So you can work on here, right?
What?
But I say what you have to work with.
Folder pages.
Folder pages. Pen, pencil, notebook. Nice one. Calculator.
Yeah. All right. Hello. Okay, Destiny and Diamond, I'm going to start the stream now, and I really hope you are able to get down to this, right? So we have to start a bit late, but the software is again giving trouble. I'm getting a new machine. By the end of the week, this should be sorted out entirely. Okay, so right, so let's get started. So I want to start with question 1. And question one in any exam, mathematics exam, has a particular look. Okay, so I will just go okay, so I'll start with question number 1 of 2017, and I'll drop the question here so you can see what it looks like. And generally, if I survey the years of past papers, I'll find that question 1 starts with some basic arithmetic, and that's what I like to start with. Okay, and this question starts using a calculator, or otherwise calculate the exact value of 4 1/3 minus 1 2/5 divided by 4 over 15. Okay, that's a sum that I want us to work out. So if I'm to work out a sum such as this question, there's a particular way which I want you to concentrate in terms of doing your work. Whenever you do a question, what we wish to happen is that anybody coming from anywhere with very little training, minimal training, can understand each step that you have taken, and you're going to take one baby step at a time when you're developing your solution. So I'd like to solve that question. The question is 4 1/3 minus 1 2/5 divided by 4/15. So 4 1/3 minus 1 2/5. So I'm required to solve four and a third minus, was it 1 2/5? Minus 1 2/5 divided by 4/15. That's the sum we have gotten. Thank you. Now let's see how we're going to solve this. Well, we should recall that there's a lot we would have learned from perhaps SEA time. Some people would have learned BODMAS, right, where the B stood for brackets, O stood for the word of, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Right? That's what we would have learned. Okay? Now would like to suggest not BODMAS but BOMDAS. So in my mind, and this will not be in your exam paper, but in your mind you have BOMDAS, BOMDAS. Now they're both the same thing, but actually when you write BODMAS it's a little bit confusing because we knew that the B stood for brackets. And what that says basically is that whenever you're working a problem, you give brackets priority. The O stood for the word of. M stood for the operation of multiplication. D stood for division. A stood for addition. And S stood for the operation of subtraction. Now, should you have problems in getting these questions out, I have to go back into the theory in a little more detail, but I'm actually relying on the fact that you are in Form 4 and your marks on Form 1 were somewhat respectable. So this is the first question on the paper, and what it does, we are actually trying to see if you can creep before you can walk, before you can do all the things that you need to do. But what we want to concentrate on is your means of writing statements. Okay? So I'm required to solve that. And because I'm required to solve that, well, you have to solve it. So I state solution. And I do that in such a way so that anybody can see where your solution starts. Okay, so we know what you're required to find. You're required to solve this expression, and now we're going to work our solution. So your solution now, you have brackets, so it's telling you that I ought to do the operation, whatever is in brackets first. So in other words, what in brackets ought to be done first? I said this will be equal to, now the 4 and 1/3, one of the first steps you do is convert the mixed number into an improper fraction. So I'm going to just do that. So my first step would be, is to convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. So what do we get there? Well, in so doing, the 4 and 3 becomes 3, 4 to 12 and 1 13, so this is equal to, the bracket is still there, 13 over 3 minus 5 1s are 5 plus 2 7, 7 over 5, all divided by 4/15. That's what we want to do. Your second step would be to get a common denominator in order to do the subtraction inside the bracket, because the bracket is telling me that I must do what's inside the bracket first, which is a subtraction. What makes the subtraction difficult is the fact that these two numbers, the two denominators are different. We cannot subtract fractions whose denominators are different, so I have to do something with them. So my second step would be, of course, we write fractions with a common denominator. Now in your exam, I would not really write this particular line, but what I would do is I would provide a clear path for you to see how that's going to be done. So I'm going to write this same line over, but I'm going to put all the changes that I'm going to make incrementally. I'll put that as multiplied by 1. Now that line is a little too thin. Let's get it a little thicker. Yeah. Alright, so that's 13 multiplied by 1. 13 and 3 by 1 is still 13 and 3. And I have to, of course, subtract from that 7 over 5. And that also can be deemed to be the same as 7 over 5 times 1 divided by 4 over 15. So you can clearly see the only change between this line and this line is that I multiply 13 and 3 by 1 and 17 and 5 by 1. That doesn't change anything. So a person could easily see the steps that we are going through. Okay. Then we follow that up. I choose a form of 1. Any number divided by itself is going to give me 1. Now I want these two numbers to have the same denominator. So I can write this as 13 over 3 by 5 over 5. Well, let me put that 5 over 5 in a different color to make it clear what I'm actually doing. So I'm going to make that 13 over 3, right, by 5 over 5. And this 1 here will be 3 over 3. So I'm going to have to take away 7 over 5, and this 3 and 3 here is the same as 1. And this 5 and 5 here is the same as the one before. Now I'm going to divide that by 4 over 15. In so doing, then, what we are going to have, I'm going to have to actually do this multiplication out. So 13 over 3 by 5 and 5 is 13 by 5, that's 65. And 3 and 5, 15. So I have 65 over 15 minus 7 by 3 is 21, 5 by 3 is 15. So what I have now done, I've actually succeeded in doing step 2, where I actually wrote the fractions inside of here with a common denominator. And that is now going to be divided by 4 over 15. Now, I can write, now that the two fractions have the same denominator, I can actually subtract the numerators. This is the same as 65 minus 21 all over 15 divided by 4 over 15. Alright, so we could continue that. 65 minus 21 will give me 5 minus 1 is 4, 6 minus 2 is 4. So I'm getting 44 over 15. The same sum can be written now as 44 over 15 divided by 4 over 15. Whenever you divide by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. So that's the same as 44 over 15 multiplied by, and what we do, we flip this guy, 15 over 4. Of course, 15 into 15 will give you 1 each, and 4 into 44 will give you an answer of 11. And therefore the answer to that problem is going to be 11. And that's your answer. So I want to make it clear, very clear what I'm actually doing. I want you to observe that while I was working through the problem, I first wrote down what I was required to solve. These are annotations that would not appear on the exam paper, but I provided them so that we could make the links with what we have learned earlier. What I did here is I wrote out each line step by step. This is what I was required to do. This, so I wrote this, is equal to this. In that first step, all I did was I changed the mixed numbers into improper fractions. So 4 and a third became 13 and 3. 1 and 2/5 became 7 and 5. So this line and that line is the same. I just made one change. In the line that followed this particular line, I just decided to write 13 and 3 as 13 and 3 by 1. And 7 and 5 as 7 and 5 by 1. In so doing, I have not changed this fraction or that fraction, because we know that multiplying any fraction by 1 or anything by 1 gives us itself. So 13 and 3 by 1 is the same as 13 and 3. 7 and 5 by 1 is the same as 7 and 5. And therefore this line, you can clearly see this line is correct. In this line, what I did is I changed one thing, and I just said, listen, I'll write this one as 5 over 5 and this one as 3 over 3 with the aim to get the same denominator. Okay, so this became 13 by 5 over 3 by 5. This became 7 by 3 over 5 by 3. Right, and then divided that by 4 and 15. So I have 65 minus 21, 65 over 15 minus 21 over 15. That is still in brackets. And I have to divide this by 4 15s. Well, you know, since we have the same denominator, we can actually subtract the numerators, and this becomes 65 minus 21 all over 15. Notice the use of the broad vinculum. And then I divide that by 4 over 15. Now, 65 minus 21 is 44, so I just simply make that one change. This is equal to 44 over 15 divided by 4 over 15. And then we know that whenever we divide by a fraction, we simply invert the fraction and change this operation to multiplication. And when we did the reduction, by removing factors, by common factors, we got 11 as the answer. Again, I want to point out one thing, and that is, in every line, I simply make one change. When you document your work in such a manner, it is impossible for the marker to find a way to take a mark from you. And in the event that you do make mistakes when you're checking over, it will be very easy to see where you would have gone wrong. Right? Because we're only making one step at a time. We're not making 3 steps or jumping over 3 steps. We're not jumping from here, say, all the way to here. We do it in baby steps so we don't make any mistakes. That's the key to your exam. And number 1 question in the paper must always be done properly. It makes a good statement for oneself. Okay? So, a lot of the exam papers, they are very repetitive. If I am to list a few of them, you'd see that a lot of them actually begin in that manner. Okay? So, let's look at the second part of that same question. Okay? Look at the second part of that same question. So the second part of that same question asks us to find 3.1 minus 1.15 all to be squared divided by 0.05. 3.1 minus 1.15 squared divided by 0.005. Okay, so that's what they want us to do in the second section. So I suppose it makes sense. Right? So next part we are actually required to find, and you'll just, I'm heading up my work this way, required to evaluate 3.1 minus 1.15 squared all divided by 0.005. Okay, that's what they want me to work out. Now, of course, again, to do this, I must work what's in brackets first. Okay? Now, despite the fact that in the exam, they do allow you to use a calculator, despite the fact that they do allow you to use a calculator, using a calculator otherwise, calculate the exact value of all of this, my strong advice to you would be to show all working. Because if you make the mistake and press the wrong button in the calculator and you just decide you're going to work it out, and you press the wrong button in the calculator, or you forget to close a bracket, or you are not aware how to use the DAL functions on your calculator as the logic functions, the way the sequence operations. If you're not aware of how to use it, you are bound to get bad answers. So it would be very wise of you to actually try and do this question properly, right, by writing out every single line. So this will be now 3.10. The only change I have made here, I should head up solution. So we have here 3.10 minus 1.15 squared all over 0.005. Okay, so the only change I've made so far is I put a 0 here. Now I think that you can actually use a calculator here to do subtraction, but the subtraction must be done first. So I think I should get an answer that looks like it'll be 3 minus 1 is 2, 1.95. I strongly believe I get an answer of 1.95, and still to be squared, and I'll be dividing 0.05. Now 1.95 squared. If you have to work that out, let's do that with our calculator. So 1.95 squared is 3.8025. So this becomes 3.8025 divided by 0.05. Of course, go to your calculator now. So in your calculator, you have 3.8025 divided by 0.05. You get the answer equal to 76.05. The answer is equal to 76.05, and that's your answer. Okay, so that was pretty easy. And what I want to emphasize here is in each line, you simply work out one operation. In each line, you simply work out one operation. Alright. Okay, so this is what you do. Do not take for granted what I'm trying to show you here. Yes, it's an easy topic, but what I want you to concentrate on is your flawless steps that you make, providing evidence, very tight evidence, that you know exactly what you're doing. If you make a mistake, you'll be given credit for the way you try to lay out your work. They can tell that you know your work, even if you enter the wrong number in your calculator. Let's say that 65 minus 21 was 34, right? Or you had 46 by mistake or something of the sort. They will give you credit for what you were trying to do. Okay, so our future classes, I'm hoping, will be a Skype class, right? But I just want to do another question just like this one. And my advice to you would be to actually go and practice as many as is possible. Okay, so we'll be doing like question 1 first, then question 2, then question 3, and the exam has 10 questions on it. So the hope is that eventually we get our minds wrapped around all those 10. Okay, so I want to try another one of these. Let's give it a go. Okay, so let's look at what we have. This was June 2017. Let's look and see what we were given in January 2017. Okay, let's take a look. And this was the question, that's how the question was started off. Okay? 3.5 multiplied by 1 2/3 divided by 4 1/5. 3.5 multiplied by 1 2/3 divided by 4 1/5. So this 3.5 multiplied by 1 2/3 divided by 4 1/5. Now we are required to solve that. Now this is your solution. So for your solution, you write back the very same sum that you were given, which is 3.5 multiplied by 1 2/3 all over 4 1/5. Let's make sure that's what you see in there. Right, that's it. Okay, let's get rid of this guy then. So you write this now and you put equal. So what you're saying is everything here is equal to what we have here. So 2 3s are 6 and 1. Oh, the first step is to, of course, convert mixed numbers into proper fractions. Into improper fractions, sorry. So what we have, 2 3s are 6 and 1, 7 over 2. So that's a step. 3 1s are 3 and 2, 5. 5 4s are 20 and 1, 21. 21 over 5. Well, we can do this multiplication on top here, not a problem. So I'll multiply these two parts on top. 7 5 is 35, that's 35. And 2 3s are 6. So that is now going to be divided by, so it's 21 over 5. Now, when you divide in fractions, you invert the divisor. So this becomes now 35 over 6 multiplied by 5 over 21. Well, 3 into 21 will be 7 into 21 is 3, 7 to 35 is 5. Right, I'm sorry. This is actually 35 over 6 multiplied by 5 over 21. Yes. So 5 into 5, 1. No. 7, 21, 3. So the answer will be 5 out of 25 is 25 over 18 is the answer. Over 18. This computer seems to have frozen up. What's happening here? What's happening here? What's happening here? What's happening here? Okay, I'll have to end this stream because the computer seems to be giving some trouble. I'll have to do a delayed broadcast. Okay.